A sharp slap echoed through the warehouse. Daniel stumbled backward and crashed into a stack of cartons. Before he could regain his balance, another worker grabbed him by the shirt. "Where is the money?" the man shouted. "I don't know what you're talking about," Daniel cried. A punch landed on his jaw. The room erupted into chaos. "Tell us where you hid it. You think you're smart? After everything the boss did for you?" Daniel raised his hands to shield his face. "Please, I didn't steal anything." At the center of the crowd stood Mr. Raymond, the owner of the company. His eyes burned with anger. "Enough lies," he shouted. Daniel looked directly at him. "Sir, I swear on my life I didn't take your money." "Then explain why millions disappeared from your account." "I don't know." The workers tightened their grip on him. For the first time in years, Daniel realized nobody believed him. Not the boss, not his coworkers, not even the people he considered friends. Everyone had already decided he was guilty. And the worst part? Daniel himself had no idea where the money had gone. 3 days earlier, life had been completely different. Daniel was known as the most reliable employee in Raymond Ventures. He arrived before everyone else and often left after everyone had gone home. Whenever something needed to be done, Daniel was the first person Mr. Raymond called. "Daniel!" "Yes, sir." "Handle this invoice." "Yes, sir." "Follow up with the supplier." "Right away, sir." The trust between them had been built over years. Many workers secretly envied him. Some believed he was the boss's favorite. Daniel didn't care. He simply focused on doing his job. At 28 years old, he had already experienced enough hardship to know that opportunities were rare. He had grown up in a poor household. His mother sold vegetables. His father had passed away when he was young. Every achievement in his life had come through sacrifice. That was why he guarded his reputation carefully. His name was all he had. One Monday morning, excitement filled the office. Mr. Raymond gathered everyone together. A huge smile covered his face. "Today is a special day," he announced. The workers exchanged curious looks. "What happened, sir?" one asked. Mr. Raymond laughed. "We got it." "You got what?" "The contract." The office exploded with cheers. People jumped from their seats. Some hugged each other. Others clapped loudly. Daniel smiled. For months, the company had been pursuing a major business deal. Winning it would transform the business forever. Mr. Raymond pointed at Daniel. "You especially deserve credit." Daniel looked surprised. "Me?" "Yes, you handled most of the communication." "Thank you, sir." The boss nodded. "This contract is worth more than anything we've ever done before." Excitement spread through the room. People immediately began talking about bonuses and promotions. For the first time in months, everyone felt hopeful. Later that afternoon, Mr. Raymond called Daniel into his office. "Close the door." Daniel obeyed. The boss leaned forward. "There is something important we need to discuss." Daniel listened carefully. "The client is ready to make the first payment." "That's good news." "It is." The boss paused. "Unfortunately, there is a temporary issue with one of our business accounts." Daniel frowned. "What kind of issue?" "Nothing serious, just paperwork." "So what do we do?" "The client needs to send the payment immediately." Daniel nodded. Mr. Raymond looked directly at him. "I want them to send it through your account." Daniel blinked. "My account?" "Yes." The request surprised him. "Sir, are you sure?" "Of course." "It's a large amount." "I trust you." Daniel hesitated. The responsibility felt enormous. Still, he had never given the boss a reason to doubt him. "If you believe that's the best option, I'll do it." Mr. Raymond smiled. "I knew I could count on you." The following day, the client requested Daniel's account details. Everything moved quickly. By afternoon, the transfer had been processed. Daniel received a notification. His eyes widened. The amount was larger than anything he had ever seen. His heart raced. Immediately, he informed Mr. Raymond. "The payment has arrived." The boss practically jumped from his chair. "It has?" "Yes, sir." Mr. Raymond laughed loudly. "We did it!" Word spread through the company within minutes. Workers celebrated. Some talked about buying cars. Others discussed expanding operations. Everyone believed brighter days were ahead. That evening, Mr. Raymond organized a small gathering. Music played, food was served, laughter filled the air. For a few hours, life seemed perfect. Nobody knew disaster was already waiting. The next morning, everything changed. Mr. Raymond called Daniel. "Come to my office." Daniel walked in. The boss looked serious. "We need to move the funds." "Okay. Transfer them." Daniel opened his banking application. A few seconds passed. His smile disappeared. He tried again. Nothing happened. His stomach tightened. Mr. Raymond noticed. "What is it?" Daniel swallowed. "The transaction isn't going through." "What do you mean?" "It says unavailable." The boss frowned. "Try again." Daniel did. Same result. Mr. Raymond stood up. "What's wrong with the account?" "I don't know." "Call the bank." Daniel immediately dialed customer service. After several minutes of waiting, nobody answered. The boss began pacing. Hours passed. The funds remained inaccessible. By afternoon, tension had replaced celebration. The workers noticed. Whispers started spreading. "What happened?" "I heard there's a problem." "With the money?" "No one knows." Daniel continued trying to contact the bank. Each failed attempt increased his anxiety. For the first time, he saw doubt appear in Mr. Raymond's eyes. A doubt that would soon become something far more dangerous. And before the week was over, that doubt would destroy everything Daniel had spent years building. The following morning, Daniel barely slept. Every few minutes he had checked his phone, hoping for a message from the bank. Nothing came. When he arrived at work, the atmosphere felt different. Conversations stopped whenever he walked past. People stared. Some whispered. Others avoided eye contact. Daniel tried to ignore it. He headed straight to Mr. Raymond's office. The boss was already there. "So?" Mr. Raymond asked. Daniel shook his head. "No update yet." The boss's jaw tightened. "You still haven't reached the bank?" "I've been trying, sir." "Trying isn't enough." Daniel took a deep breath. "I understand." Mr. Raymond leaned back in his chair. "The client has been calling me since dawn." "I'm sorry." "Sorry won't solve this." Daniel lowered his eyes. For the first time since joining the company, he felt like an outsider. A few minutes later, the boss's phone rang. It was the client. Mr. Raymond immediately answered. "Good morning." The voice on the other end sounded impatient. "Did you receive the funds?" "Yes." "Then why hasn't the payment been completed?" "We're experiencing a temporary issue." "What kind of issue?" Mr. Raymond glanced at Daniel. "We're looking into it." The client sounded frustrated. "That money must be accounted for today." "We understand." "No excuses." The call ended. The room fell silent. Mr. Raymond slowly turned toward Daniel. His expression was colder than before. "You heard that?" "Yes, sir." "I need answers." "I need them too." The boss stared at him for several seconds. Then he spoke quietly. "Daniel, tell me the truth." Daniel frowned. "What truth?" "If there's something you're hiding, now is the time to tell me." Daniel's heart sank. "Sir, I haven't hidden anything." "You expect me to believe that millions are trapped in your account, and you don't know why?" "I swear I don't." Mr. Raymond remained silent. The look in his eyes made Daniel uncomfortable. For the first time, trust was beginning to crack. By midday, rumors had spread throughout the company. The workers gathered in small groups. Some spoke in hushed voices. Others openly shared their opinions. "I always knew something was off about him." "Really?" "Nobody is that perfect." "You think he took the money?" "What else makes sense?" Across the room, another worker disagreed. "Daniel has been here for years." "So?" "He's never stolen anything." The first worker laughed. "People change when they see millions." Daniel overheard parts of the conversation. Every word felt like a knife. These were people he had worked beside for years. People he had helped. People who had once called him a friend. Yet now they spoke about him like a criminal. Later that afternoon, Daniel finally managed to reach customer service. Relief flooded his face. At last, someone could explain what was happening. "Hello," he said. "My name is Daniel. How may we assist you today? My account is having issues." The representative asked several questions. Daniel answered every one. Then came the response. "Your case requires further review." Daniel's heart dropped. "What does that mean?" "We cannot provide complete details at this moment." "When will I get answers?" "Please be patient." "How long?" "We cannot say." Daniel felt panic rising. "You don't understand. There is a business transaction involved. We understand your concern." "No, you don't." "I'm sorry, sir." The call ended. Daniel stared at the screen. He had waited days for answers, and still had none. When he informed Mr. Raymond, the reaction was immediate. "That's it?" Daniel nodded. "That's all they said." Mr. Raymond slammed his hand on the desk. The sound echoed through the office. "This is unbelievable." Daniel remained quiet. The boss pointed at him. "If that money isn't available tomorrow, we're going to have a serious problem." Daniel swallowed hard. "We already have one." The boss didn't laugh. That frightened Daniel even more. The next day was worse. The client arrived in person. The moment he entered the building, everyone sensed trouble. His face was filled with anger. He marched straight into Mr. Raymond's office. Daniel was called inside. The client pointed at him. "That's the employee?" "Yes," Mr. Raymond replied. The client folded his arms. "Young man, where is the money?" Daniel answered honestly. "I don't know." The client laughed bitterly. "You don't know?" "No." "Millions vanished and you don't know?" Daniel's voice trembled. "They didn't vanish." "Then where are they?" "I wish I knew." The client looked at Mr. Raymond. "You trust this story?" Mr. Raymond didn't answer immediately. That silence spoke louder than words. Daniel felt his stomach twist. The trust that once existed was disappearing, piece by piece. The meeting ended badly. The client left furious. The boss remained angry, and Daniel remained trapped. By evening, the whispers had become accusations. People were no longer asking questions. They were reaching conclusions. One worker approached another. "Have you noticed?" "Noticed what?" "Daniel has been acting nervous." "Wouldn't you be nervous?" "I would if I stole millions." Several workers laughed. Daniel heard them. He wanted to defend himself. He wanted to scream. Instead, he walked away. That night, he sat alone in his small apartment. The lights were off. His phone rested beside him. He stared at the ceiling. His mother's words echoed in his mind. "Protect your name, Daniel." For years, he had done exactly that. Now his reputation was slipping away, and he felt powerless to stop it. The next morning, the storm finally arrived. Daniel had barely entered the building when Mr. Raymond called him. The boss wasn't alone. Several senior workers stood inside the office. Nobody smiled. Nobody greeted him. Mr. Raymond slowly stood. His face looked harder than Daniel had ever seen. "I'll ask one final time." Daniel's pulse quickened. "Sir? Where is the money?" Daniel took a shaky breath. "I don't know." The boss stepped closer. "Think carefully. I am telling the truth." "Then explain what happened." "I can't explain something I don't understand." The room became silent. One worker spoke. "Boss, he's playing games." Another nodded. "He thinks we're fools." Daniel turned toward them. "I'm not lying." "Then prove it." "I can't prove what I don't know." The boss clenched his fists. Days of pressure, days of accusations from the client, days of unanswered questions. Everything seemed to explode at once. Mr. Raymond pointed directly at Daniel. His voice thundered through the room. "I'm done listening." The workers exchanged looks. Daniel felt fear creeping into his chest. Something was about to happen, something terrible, and within the next few minutes, his entire life would change forever. "I'm done listening." The words hung heavily in the air. Daniel felt his heartbeat pounding inside his chest. For a moment, nobody moved. Nobody spoke. The room was completely silent. Then Mr. Raymond pointed toward the door. "Take him outside." Daniel blinked. "What?" The boss didn't look at him. "Take him outside." Two workers stepped forward immediately. Daniel backed away. "Sir, what are you doing?" "Take him outside." The workers grabbed his arms. Panic exploded inside him. "Sir, please." He struggled. "I didn't steal anything." "Move!" One of the men shoved him forward. Daniel nearly lost his balance. The office staff began gathering. People abandoned their desks. Everyone wanted to see what was happening. Within seconds, a crowd had formed. Daniel looked desperately at familiar faces. Faces he had known for years. Faces that showed no sympathy. "Please," he begged. "You all know me." Nobody responded. One worker laughed. "We thought we knew you." Another shook his head. Millions change people. Daniel felt tears forming in his eyes. Not because he was afraid, because he was heartbroken. The people he trusted had already convicted him. Without evidence, without proof, without even hearing him out. The workers dragged him into the warehouse area. The crowd followed. Mr. Raymond arrived moments later. His face was filled with rage. Daniel took a step toward him. "Sir, don't call me that. Please listen. I listened for days. I am innocent." The boss laughed bitterly. "Innocent people don't make money disappear." The money didn't disappear. "Then where is it?" "I don't know." "There you go again." Daniel's voice cracked. "Because it's the truth." Mr. Raymond looked at the workers surrounding them. Then he made the decision that would haunt him forever. "If he won't talk..." He paused. The entire warehouse became silent. "Make him talk." Daniel froze. His eyes widened. "No." The first punch landed before he could react. Pain exploded across his face. The force sent him stumbling backward. Another worker struck him in the stomach. Daniel collapsed to one knee. The crowd erupted. Some watched silently. Others shouted accusations. "Confess! Tell us where the money is! You can't hide it forever!" Daniel struggled to breathe. "I didn't take it." A kick landed against his side. He cried out. The pain was unbearable. Yet the emotional pain hurt even more. Every strike carried the same message. Nobody believed him. Nobody. One worker grabbed his shirt. "Talk!" Daniel shook his head. "There is nothing to tell." Another blow hit his jaw. Blood appeared at the corner of his mouth. The warehouse suddenly felt distant. The voices became muffled. Yet through the chaos, he could still hear Mr. Raymond. "Where is my money?" Daniel looked directly at him. His eyes were filled with tears. "Sir..." The boss glared at him. "I trusted you." Daniel's voice trembled. "And I never betrayed you." The statement only made Mr. Raymond angrier. The beating continued. Minutes felt like hours. Eventually, Daniel collapsed completely. His body could no longer withstand the punishment. The workers stepped back, breathing heavily, sweating, angry. Daniel lay motionless on the floor. His shirt was torn. His face was swollen. His body ached. Yet he repeated the same words, over and over. "I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I didn't do it." The crowd slowly began dispersing. Some shook their heads. Others muttered insults. A few looked uncomfortable. But nobody stepped forward to help him. Nobody. Hours later, Daniel managed to leave the company. Every step hurt. People on the street stared at him. He barely noticed. His mind was elsewhere. He kept replaying everything. The accusations. The betrayal. The violence. How had his life fallen apart so quickly? When he finally reached home, he collapsed onto his bed. His phone rang several times. He ignored every call. Friends called, co-workers called, unknown numbers called. He answered none of them. For the first time in years, Daniel felt completely broken. The next day, he remained home. Then another day passed. And another. Meanwhile, pressure continued building inside the company. The client was furious. The project had stalled. Questions remained unanswered. Most importantly, the money still couldn't be accessed. Even after everything that had happened, nobody had found evidence against Daniel. Not a single transaction. Not a single withdrawal. Not a single transfer. Nothing. At first, Mr. Raymond ignored that fact. Anger had blinded him. But eventually, reality began forcing its way into his thoughts. One evening, he sat alone in his office. The client was demanding answers. The workers were demanding answers. Even he was demanding answers from himself. Something wasn't adding up. He stared at the account records again, and again, and again. Nothing. The money had entered the account, that much was clear, but there was no sign that Daniel had moved it, not once. Mr. Raymond rubbed his forehead. For the first time, doubt appeared. Not doubt about Daniel's guilt, doubt about his own conclusions. The following morning, the client arrived once again. This time, he looked even more frustrated. "We're wasting time." "I know." "We need answers." "I know." The client leaned forward. "Have you contacted the bank directly?" Mr. Raymond paused. "No." The client stared at him. "You haven't?" "We expected Daniel to resolve it." The client shook his head. "Call them now. Immediately. Right now." A few minutes later, the call was made. The room remained silent as they waited. After several transfers between departments, a representative finally joined the call. Mr. Raymond explained everything. The representative listened carefully. Then she asked several questions. Minutes passed. Everyone waited. Finally, the representative spoke. "Sir." "Yes?" "There is no indication that the account holder stole the funds." The room became silent. Mr. Raymond felt his stomach drop. "What?" "The funds remain within the banking system." The client leaned forward. "What does that mean?" The representative continued. "The account was automatically restricted for review." Mr. Raymond's eyes widened. "Restricted?" "Yes." "Why?" "The transaction amount exceeded normal account activity levels." Nobody spoke. Nobody moved. The representative continued. "The restriction was triggered automatically." The client looked stunned. "So the money wasn't stolen?" "No." "It's still there?" "Yes." Mr. Raymond felt the blood drain from his face. His hands began trembling. The client slowly sat back in his chair. The room felt frozen. Every accusation, every insult, every punch, every kick, every moment of humiliation, all of it suddenly came rushing back. And for the first time, Mr. Raymond saw the situation clearly. Daniel had been telling the truth the entire time. The call ended. Nobody spoke. Nobody knew what to say. The silence was suffocating. Finally, one worker whispered, "Oh God." Another lowered his head. A third worker sat down heavily. The reality was impossible to ignore. An innocent man had suffered because nobody was willing to wait for the truth. Mr. Raymond stood up slowly. His legs felt weak. Images of Daniel's swollen face flashed through his mind. The fear in his eyes. The desperation in his voice. The countless times he had said the same words. "I didn't do it." And he had been right. Every single time. Mr. Raymond grabbed his car keys. The client looked at him. "Where are you going?" The boss stared toward the door. His voice was barely above a whisper. "I'm going to find Daniel." But what he didn't know was that Daniel was no longer the same man they had accused. The beating had healed slowly. The bruises were fading. Yet the betrayal remained. And while everyone else was just beginning to discover the truth, Daniel had already made a decision that would change the course of his life forever. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. If you were Daniel, would you forgive Mr. Raymond after everything that happened? Part 2 reveals what happened next, how Daniel responded when the truth came out, and how the worst experience of his life became the beginning of a success story nobody saw coming.